My daughter forced me to sign over my $4 million house, telling the notary I was getting senile. I looked at the documents in my janitor uniform, still smelling like industrial cleaner from my morning shift. Emily stood there in her $3,200 designer dress, tapping her Rolex impatiently. The notary, a distinguished man with glasses, handed me his business card. Dr. Richard Harrison, University Medical Center. I smiled quietly. Emily didn't notice. She was too busy explaining to this stranger how I was confused about finances and needed professional guidance. "Dad's getting older," she said, not looking at me. "These decisions are too complex for him now." I examined the signature line, then looked at Dr. Harrison. He gave me the slightest nod. Emily had no idea that this man had watched me work 3 jobs to put her through medical school. What Emily didn't know was about to change everything. 2 weeks earlier, I sat in the back row of the Regional Medical Excellence Conference at the Marriott downtown. 450 medical professionals filled the ballroom. I wore my only good suit, an $89 Walmart special that felt tight around my shoulders from years of manual labor. Emily's name appeared on the main screen. Dr. Emily Davis, Cardiothoracic Surgery, Metro General Hospital. Overcoming Poverty and Educational Neglect, a Personal Journey. My chest tightened. Educational neglect? She walked to the podium in designer heels that cost more than my monthly grocery budget. The audience quieted as she began her prepared speech. "Growing up with an absent father who prioritized work over family," Emily said, her voice carrying easily through the microphone, "I learned early that education would be my only escape from poverty." I gripped my conference program. The bio read, "First-generation college student from a neglectful household, Dr. Davis overcame significant educational obstacles." "My father worked multiple jobs," she continued, "but was never present for homework help, school events, or emotional support. I essentially raised myself while he pursued what he called providing for the family." The audience murmured sympathetically. Several doctors nodded knowingly. "Without proper guidance or encouragement at home," Emily said, "I had to find mentors elsewhere. Teachers who stayed late, coaches who believed in me. Anyone willing to fill the void left by parental absence." My phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Peterson, Pediatrics. "Robert? Isn't that your daughter? That doesn't sound like the man who tutored my kids for free." Another buzz. Dr. Williams from Cardiology. "You're Emily? The one you worked nights to support through medical school?" I quietly started recording. "Financial instability was constant," Emily told the rapt audience. "While other children had college funds, I faced the reality that my education would depend entirely on my own merit and determination." She was lying. I had bank statements proving I'd spent $156,890 on her education alone. "The emotional neglect was perhaps harder than the financial struggle," Emily continued. "Having a parent physically present but emotionally unavailable teaches you that you can only rely on yourself." Dr. Martinez texted, "Robert, this is painful to watch." "Should we say something?" I typed back. "Let her finish." Emily's voice grew stronger, more confident. "I share this story not for sympathy, but to demonstrate that our backgrounds don't define our futures. We can overcome neglect, poverty, and lack of support to achieve excellence." Thunderous applause filled the ballroom. Emily smiled, accepting praise from colleagues who thought they were honoring someone who'd triumphed over adversity. Dr. Harrison himself approached the microphone for questions. "Dr. Davis, your story is inspiring. How did you finance medical school without family support?" "Scholarships, primarily," Emily replied smoothly. "Need-based aid for disadvantaged students. I qualified for significant assistance due to my background. My blood ran cold. Need-based aid required proof of financial hardship, but I'd been making $67,000 annually during her medical school years, too much for need-based assistance." After the presentation, colleagues surrounded Emily with congratulations. I stood up slowly, my knees creaking from years of physical labor. Several doctors noticed me. "Robert," Dr. Peterson called out, "I didn't know you were here." Emily's head snapped around. Her face flushed as she saw me in my cheap suit, standing among her successful colleagues. "Dad," she said quickly, "what are you doing here?" "Supporting my daughter," I said quietly. Dr. Harrison approached. "This must be a very proud moment for you, Mr. Wilson." Emily's story was quite moving. "Yes," I said, looking directly at Emily. "Quite a story. Emily's smile faltered. Dad, I should introduce you to... Actually, Dr. Peterson interrupted, we know Robert. He tutored our children when they were struggling in high school, refused to accept payment, even though we knew money was tight. Dr. Williams nodded. Same here. My daughter Sarah says you're the reason she passed calculus. You'd come straight from your night shift to help her with homework. Emily's face went pale. The doctors looked confused, trying to reconcile their knowledge of me with Emily's presentation about an absent, neglectful father. Well, Emily said quickly, Dad has his own version of events. Version? Dr. Harrison repeated. Mr. Wilson, you were working multiple jobs during Emily's education? 3 jobs, I said simply. Hospital janitor, 6 to 2, office cleaning, 6 to 10, weekend maintenance. The doctors exchanged glances. Dr. Peterson pulled out his phone. I have photos, he said, scrolling. Here, Robert at Sarah's graduation party in 2010. He looks exhausted, but he came straight from work because he didn't want to miss it. Emily's hands shook slightly. I think there's been some confusion. No confusion, Dr. Williams said. I remember calling you at 11 p.m. for tutoring help, Robert. You'd just gotten home from your second job, but came anyway. The circle of colleagues grew quiet. Emily's inspirational narrative was crumbling in real time. My phone buzzed with more texts from people who remembered the truth, but I just stood there, watching my daughter realize that her carefully crafted victim story had witnesses. We should probably head home, Emily said quickly. Dad gets tired easily. But Dr. Harrison was studying me with new interest. Mr. Wilson, would you mind if we spoke privately sometime? I'd like to hear more about those years. Emily stepped between us. Dad's memory isn't what it used to be. These conversations can be confusing for him. I looked at my daughter, this successful woman I'd sacrificed everything to support, and felt something break inside my chest. My memory's fine, I said quietly. I remember everything. 3 days later, my phone rang at 7:30 p.m. I was heating up leftover soup, still in my janitor uniform from the day shift. Dad, we need to talk. Emily's voice was sharp, professional, the same tone she probably used with difficult patients. Hello, Emily. How are you? How am I? She laughed, but there was no humor in it. I'm embarrassed. Do you have any idea what you did at that conference? I sat down slowly. I attended my daughter's presentation. You made me look like a liar. Did I say something untrue? You didn't have to say anything. Your presence was enough. Colleagues are asking questions now. They want to know why my father is a janitor if I supposedly overcame such obstacles. I stirred my soup, letting the silence stretch. It undermines my credibility, she continued. Dr. Harrison wants to chat with you. Dr. Peterson is asking about tutoring his kids. This is a professional disaster. I remember when you called me your hero. I was a child, Dad. Children don't understand complex family dynamics. What's complex about working 3 jobs to pay for your education? You made that choice. Nobody forced you to work those hours. And honestly, you working all the time meant you were never home. I did raise myself in many ways. My spoon clinked against the bowl. I worked so you could focus on studying. You worked because you made poor life choices earlier. You had no education, no skills, no options. That's not sacrifice. That's consequence. Something cold settled in my stomach. Emily, you want to know the truth, Dad? Your lifestyle embarrassed me growing up. Other kids had fathers who were doctors, lawyers, businessmen. I had a janitor who came to school events smelling like cleaning chemicals. I came to every event I could, and I spent every event explaining why my father looked different from theirs. Do you know how that feels, having to justify your parents' existence? I set down my spoon. The tuition money was the bare minimum. I got scholarships, Dad, academic merit scholarships based on my disadvantaged background. That's how I really paid for medical school. What kind of scholarships? Need-based aid, federal grants for students from low-income, single-parent households with absent fathers. The words hit like a physical blow. Single-parent? Absent fathers? Functionally, yes. You were never really present, Dad. Working all the time, too tired to help with homework, falling asleep during conversations. That's emotional absence. I fell asleep because I was working 16-hour days for you. For me? Or because you had no other options? Let's be honest. You would have been working those jobs anyway. You just happened to have a daughter who needed education funding. My chest felt tight. Emily, I have every canceled check. Congratulations. You kept receipts for basic parental obligations. You won a medal for not abandoning me completely. I sacrificed. You made choices that limited my opportunities. She cut me off. Living in poverty, constantly moving for cheaper rent, wearing secondhand clothes to school. Those scholarships I earned, they were compensation for the disadvantages your choices created. I looked around my small kitchen, the house she was now calling a $4 million asset, the house I'd bought, with savings from those meaningless jobs. The house appreciating in value doesn't erase 20 years of financial instability, she continued, reading my thoughts. And frankly, Dad, at your age, managing a property this valuable is irresponsible. You don't understand investment, taxes, estate planning. I understand I built this. You bought it 30 years ago for $127,000. You didn't build anything. You got lucky with real estate inflation. That luck doesn't qualify you to manage $4.2 million in assets. Manage for who? For the family. For your legacy. For me, eventually, but managed properly in the meantime. The word eventually hung in the air. She was planning for my death, calculating her inheritance while I sat in my kitchen eating soup. You're talking about taking my house. I'm talking about proper asset management. You're 78 years old. I'm 58. Whatever. The point is, you're not getting younger, and these decisions are becoming too complex. I have medical training, financial education, professional connections. I can ensure this property serves the family appropriately. What if I don't want to sign it over? Her voice became very quiet, very professional. Dad, I've been talking to people. There are legal options for families dealing with elderly relatives who can't make sound financial decisions anymore. Are you threatening me? I'm explaining reality. Cognitive decline happens gradually. People don't always recognize it in themselves. Family members sometimes need to intervene for everyone's protection. My mind is fine. Is it? You're living alone in a house worth $4.2 million, working as a janitor at 58, with no retirement savings, no investment portfolio, no estate planning. That doesn't sound like sound decision-making. It sounds like I'm still paying bills. It sounds like you need help. Professional help. Medical evaluation, financial planning, legal documentation. I'm arranging those consultations for you. Emily, the paperwork is straightforward, Dad. A simple transfer to ensure proper management. You'll still live here, obviously. This just protects everyone legally. What if I refuse? Then we'll know for certain that cognitive evaluation is necessary. Because no mentally competent person would refuse professional asset management for property they can't afford to maintain. The line went quiet. I could hear my own heartbeat. I'll think about what you've said, I finally replied. Good. I'll be by Friday with the notary. Just simple paperwork, Dad. Nothing to worry about. She hung up. I sat there holding the phone, staring at my soup getting cold, and realized my daughter had just given me an ultimatum. Sign over my house voluntarily, or she'd have me declared mentally incompetent. But Emily had made one crucial mistake. She'd forgotten that some people remember everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. Emily's words echoed in my head. Need-based aid for students from low-income, single-parent households with absent fathers. At 3 a.m., I got up and pulled out my filing cabinet. 30 years of documents, organized by year. Emily always mocked my paper obsession, but tonight it might save me. I found her scholarship applications in the 2008 to 2012 folder. Federal Pell Grant application 2008. Applicant reports absent father, single mother household, family income under $25,000. But I had my W-2 from 2008 right next to it, $67,340 annual income, and the divorce decree clearly stated joint custody after her mother remarried and moved to Phoenix. Medical disadvantaged student grant, 2009. Father provides no financial support. Student works part-time while attending college full-time without family assistance. My bank statements told a different story. Check number 1247, September 15th, 2009, $2,400 to Emily Davis with memo, apartment deposit plus first month. Check number 1251, September 30th, $800, memo, Books and supplies. Check number 1256, October 15th. $600. Memo, meal plan. Page after page of canceled checks, grocery money, medical insurance, car payments, clothes, even spring break trips that she'd called educational conferences. Total, $156,890 over 4 years. But according to her scholarship applications, I was an absent father providing no support. I pulled out the scholarship award letters. Federal Pell Grant, $28,500. Medical disadvantaged student. Grant, $156,500. State need-based aid, $45,600. University hardship fund, $12,800. Total fraudulent aid, $243,400. Emily had stolen nearly $250,000, meant for genuinely disadvantaged students, students who actually had absent fathers, students who actually received no family support. I sat back in my kitchen chair, staring at the evidence. This wasn't just ingratitude. It was federal fraud. My phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Harrison. Robert, I hope you don't mind, but I've been thinking about our conversation. Would you be available to meet sometime this week? I have some questions about Emily's background. I stared at the message for a long time, then I typed back, Dr. Harrison, we need to talk. Are you free tomorrow morning? His response came immediately. Absolutely. My office, 9 a.m.? Actually, I wrote, could we meet somewhere private? Coffee shop, maybe? This is about Emily's scholarship applications. The Starbucks on Medical Center Drive. I'll be there. I set the phone down and looked at the scholarship documents again. Emily thought she was so clever, rewriting our history to steal my house. But she'd forgotten something crucial. I kept everything. Every thank you card she'd written as a child. Every graduation photo where she called me the best dad ever. Every school project where she wrote about how proud she was of her father's hard work and sacrifice. I pulled out the shoebox from the top shelf. 23 handwritten cards and letters spanning ages 8 to 22. Dear Daddy, the first one read, in second grade handwriting, thank you for working so hard for our family. You are my hero. Age 16, after a particularly difficult semester. Dad, I know you're tired from working so much, but I want you to know how grateful I am. Other kids don't understand what real sacrifice looks like. I do. I love you. Age 22, graduation day, to the most selfless father in the world. Everything I achieve is because of your love and sacrifice. I will never forget what you gave up for me. Never forget. I laughed bitterly. Looking around my modest kitchen, the same kitchen where she'd done homework while I made dinner between jobs, the same table where I'd helped her practice presentations, falling asleep over her note cards because I'd worked a 16-hour day. She was going to have me declared mentally incompetent if I didn't sign over my house. The house I'd bought with money saved from those meaningless jobs. The house that appreciated to $4.2 million through 30 years of careful maintenance and neighborhood improvement. My house. Built with janitor wages and overtime pay and dreams of giving my daughter a better life than I'd had. But Emily had made a critical error in her calculations. She assumed that because I was just a janitor, I was also just a victim. She forgot that janitors clean up messes for a living, and her scholarship fraud was about to become the biggest mess of her professional life. I opened my laptop and started typing an email to Dr. Harrison. Richard, thank you for agreeing to meet tomorrow. I'm attaching some documents I think you'll find interesting regarding Emily's financial aid applications. As dean of the medical school that processed her grants, you should know that every application contains false information about her family situation and my involvement in her education. I have 30 years of documentation proving otherwise. We need to discuss what this means for her current position and her application for department chair. Sincerely, Robert. I attached scanned copies of the scholarship applications and my corresponding bank statements. Then I sat back and waited for morning, wondering if Emily had any idea what she'd just unleashed. Some lies are too big to contain once the truth finds witnesses. Dr. Harrison was already waiting when I arrived at Starbucks the next morning. He looked exactly like I remembered from parent conferences 12 years ago, distinguished, thoughtful, with the same wire-rimmed glasses. But today his expression was grim. Robert, he said, standing to shake my hand, thank you for coming. I reviewed your email last night. We sat in a corner booth, away from the morning rush. He had a manila folder on the table between us. I need to ask you some difficult questions, he began. But first, I want you to know that I remember you very well from Emily's medical school years. You do? Of course. You came to every parent conference, even though most of our students were financially independent. You always looked exhausted. He paused. I remember thinking you must work very hard to support Emily's education. I nodded. 3 jobs, hospital janitor, office cleaning, weekend maintenance. And yet, according to these scholarship applications, he tapped the folder, Emily reported having an absent father who provided no financial support. I kept every check I wrote her. Dr. Harrison opened the folder. Federal Pell Grants are need-based aid for students whose families earn less than $30,000 annually. Emily received maximum funding for 4 years. My W-2s show I was making $67,000. Yes, I see that. He pulled out a spreadsheet. Medical disadvantaged student grants are specifically for students from broken homes with absent parents. Emily received $156,500 over 4 years from this program. I attended every graduation ceremony, every awards dinner, every I know. I was there too. Dr. Harrison leaned forward. Robert, do you understand what this means? That my daughter committed fraud? Federal fraud, Title IV fraud specifically, knowingly providing false information on federal financial aid applications. It carries penalties of up to $20,000 in fines and 5 years in prison. My stomach dropped. I don't want to destroy her career. Her career may already be in jeopardy. She applied for department chair last month. Part of her application included an essay about overcoming educational disadvantages. He pulled out another document. She wrote extensively about rising above parental neglect and financial abandonment. The same lies. The same pattern. But Robert, there's something else you should know. Emily isn't just applying for department chair. She's being considered for the National Medical Leadership Council. It's a $485,000 position that would make her one of the most influential medical professionals in the country. I stared at him. Based on a fake story about overcoming adversity? Partly, yes. Her inspirational background is a significant factor in her candidacy. Dr. Harrison folded his hands. The selection committee specifically values leaders who've overcome systemic disadvantages. Disadvantages she manufactured and documented extensively. Robert, I've been dean for 15 years. I've seen scholarship fraud before, but never this elaborate or this sustained. He pulled out Emily's recent department chair application. Look at this paragraph. Growing up with an emotionally absent father who prioritized work over family connection taught me resilience and self-reliance. While other students had academic support at home, I learned to seek mentorship elsewhere, developing the independence that now allows me to lead others. The words felt like acid in my throat. She's turned my sacrifice into her strength. She's monetized your sacrifice into career advancement. The scholarship money was just the beginning. This narrative has become her professional brand. Dr. Harrison pulled out his phone and showed me Emily's LinkedIn profile. First-generation medical professional. Overcame educational neglect and financial instability to achieve excellence in cardiothoracic surgery. Passionate about mentoring disadvantaged students. Disadvantaged students like she pretended to be. Exactly. He scrolled down. Look at her recent posts. Proud to represent students from difficult backgrounds who refuse to let family dysfunction define their futures. Success isn't about where you come from. It's about refusing to accept limitations others try to place on you. Each post had hundreds of likes and supportive comments from medical colleagues praising her inspiration and resilience. Robert, I need to ask you something, and I want you to think carefully before answering. Okay. Emily called me yesterday. She wants me to notarize some documents for a property transfer. She said you're having cognitive difficulties and need help managing your assets. My blood went cold. She's already moving forward. She specifically requested me because she knows I have a professional relationship with your family. She said it would be more comfortable for you to work with someone familiar. When? Friday afternoon. She's bringing the paperwork to my office. Dr. Harrison leaned back. Robert, I think your daughter is trying to steal your house. using the same manipulation tactics she used for scholarship fraud. What do you mean? She's reframing the situation to make herself look responsible and you look incapable. It's the same pattern, taking your reality and rewriting it to serve her purposes. I thought about our phone conversation, the threats about cognitive evaluation, the ultimatum about signing voluntarily or being declared incompetent. She said if I don't sign, she'll have me evaluated for mental decline. That's coercion. And given her history of false documentation, I'm concerned about what kind of evaluation she might arrange. Dr. Harrison closed the folder. Robert, I want to help you, but I need to know, are you prepared for the consequences of exposing this fraud? What consequences? Emily's medical license could be suspended or revoked. Her position at Metro General would likely be terminated. The National Medical Leadership Council would certainly withdraw her candidacy. She'd probably face criminal charges and civil lawsuits from the scholarship programs. I sat quietly, thinking about the little girl who used to wait for me to come home from my second job, who'd run to the door shouting, "Daddy's home!" every night at 10:30 p.m. Then I thought about yesterday's phone call, the contempt in her voice, the threats, the way she'd weaponized my own sacrifice against me. Dr. Harrison, I said finally, what exactly did you have in mind? He smiled for the first time that morning. Well, she did ask me to notarize those documents. I think we should honor that request. You mean, your daughter is about to discover that some people have very long memories and very detailed records. You'll help me? Robert, I've spent my career helping genuinely disadvantaged students achieve their dreams. Emily stole resources meant for students who actually needed them. She built her success on lies about your sacrifice. He reached across the table and shook my hand. It's time someone reminded her that the truth has witnesses. Friday afternoon, Emily arrived at my house precisely at 2 p.m. in her Mercedes C-Class. I watched through the kitchen window as she checked her reflection in the side mirror and smoothed her $2,400 designer blazer. The doorbell rang twice, her impatient signature. Dad, I brought the notary, she called through the door. I opened it to find Emily standing beside a distinguished man in glasses and a conservative suit. Dr. Harrison looked completely different without his usual medical center attire. He'd transformed himself into the picture of a professional notary public. Mr. Wilson, he said, formally extending his hand, I'm Richard Harrison. I'll be handling your document notarization today. Please, come in. Emily brushed past me into the living room, already pulling papers from her leather briefcase. I've organized everything for efficiency, Dad. Simple signatures, nothing complicated. She spread documents across my coffee table. The same table where she'd done homework 20 years ago. Property transfer forms, power of attorney designations, asset management agreements. Dr. Harrison, she said without looking at him, my father owns this property outright. Fair market value approximately $4.2 million. These documents transfer management responsibilities to ensure proper oversight. I see. Dr. Harrison pulled out his notary seal and official logbook. And Mr. Wilson, you understand what you're signing? I understand perfectly. Emily shot me a warning look. Dad's been having some confusion lately. Short-term memory issues. That's why this transfer is medically necessary. Medical necessity? Dr. Harrison repeated, his pen hovering over the logbook. Cognitive decline often affects financial decision-making, Emily explained in her professional doctor voice. Family intervention prevents poor choices that could jeopardize assets. I see. And you're qualified to make this medical assessment? I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon. I understand neurological deterioration patterns in aging patients. Dr. Harrison nodded thoughtfully. Dr. Davis, isn't it? I believe we may have met before. Emily looked up sharply. I don't think so. Metro General Hospital? Medical conference circuits? I could swear. I attend many conferences. Emily's voice tightened. Could we focus on the documents, please? I have surgery rounds at 4. Of course. Dr. Harrison opened his logbook. For my records, Dr. Davis, could you state your relationship to Mr. Wilson and your interest in this property transfer? He's my father. This is simple estate planning. Estate planning usually occurs after death, doesn't it? Emily's jaw tensed. This is preventive asset management. I see. And Mr. Wilson, you agree that you're cognitively impaired and require your daughter's financial oversight? I looked directly at Emily. I think my daughter believes I'm too old and stupid to manage my own property. Dad? No, Emily. Let me be clear for the record. I turned to Dr. Harrison. My daughter thinks I'm senile because I work as a janitor. She's embarrassed by my job and wants to control my assets. That's not, Emily started. She told me on the phone that my lifestyle embarrassed her growing up, that having a janitor father made her explain my existence to her friends. Dr. Harrison wrote carefully in his logbook. And Dr. Davis, is that accurate? My father is taking things out of context. Is it accurate that you find his profession embarrassing? Emily's face flushed. I think we should stick to the legal documents. Actually, Dr. Harrison said mildly, as a notary public, I'm required to ensure that property transfers aren't made under duress or false pretenses. There's no duress. Your father just stated that you threatened him with competency evaluation if he refused to sign. Emily stood up abruptly. This is ridiculous. Dad, either sign the papers or we'll need to pursue other legal options. Other legal options? Dr. Harrison repeated. Court-ordered competency evaluation, conservatorship proceedings, whatever's necessary to protect family assets from poor decision-making. The room went very quiet. Dr. Harrison set down his pen and looked at Emily for a long moment. Dr. Davis, he said finally, I think there's something you should know. What? I'm not just a notary public. He removed his glasses and smiled. I'm also the Dean of Medical Education at University Medical Center. Emily's face went white. And I have some very interesting questions about your scholarship applications from 2008 to 2012. The briefcase slipped from Emily's hands, scattering papers across the floor. Now then, Dr. Harrison continued pleasantly, shall we discuss who really has credibility issues here? Emily recovered quickly, her medical training kicking in. Dr. Harrison, I'm not sure what you think you know. I know that you received $243,400 in need-based financial aid by claiming your father was absent and provided no support. He pulled out a folder from his briefcase. I also know that your father has documented evidence of spending $156,890 on your education during those same years. Emily's hands shook slightly, but her voice remained steady. Old scholarship paperwork has no bearing on today's legal proceedings. Federal fraud has no statute of limitations, Dr. Davis. There was no fraud. I qualified for aid based on my circumstances. Circumstances you fabricated. Dr. Harrison opened the folder. Would you like me to read your 2009 application aloud? Applicant's father abandoned family when applicant was 12 years old. No contact or financial support since abandonment. My father was emotionally absent. Your father attended every parent conference. I was there. I remember him falling asleep during meetings because he worked 16-hour days to pay your expenses. Emily stood up and walked to the window. Dr. Harrison, even if there were discrepancies in old paperwork, that's between me and the Financial Aid Office. Actually, it's between you and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Title 4. Fraud is a federal crime. She turned around, her composure cracking. You're threatening me. I'm informing you. Just as you informed your father about legal options if he refused to sign over his house. Emily pulled out her phone. I think this meeting is over. Where are you going? I asked. To control the narrative before you destroy my career with ancient grudges. She started typing rapidly on her phone. I watched her craft an Instagram post, dealing with a family crisis tonight. Sometimes loving an aging parent means making difficult decisions they can't understand. Mental decline is heartbreaking, but families must step up. Prayers appreciated. Family first elder care. Tough choices. Emily, what are you doing? Protecting my reputation. She posted it and immediately started on Facebook. Heavy heart tonight as our family navigates the challenges of aging and cognitive decline. When parents can no longer make sound decisions, adult children must show love through difficult choices. Please keep us in your thoughts. Within minutes, her phone buzzed with responses. So sorry you're going through this, Em. Dementia is so hard on families. You're being strong. Your dad is lucky to have such a caring daughter. Dr. Harrison watched quietly as Emily's notifications multiplied. She was building a public record of my supposed mental incompetence in real time. Dr. Davis, he said finally, you might want to reconsider this strategy. I'm documenting the truth. You're documenting lies. Again. He pulled out his own phone. May I? Emily shrugged. It's social media. Public record. Dr. Harrison started typing. As Dean of Medical Education, I feel compelled to address recent social media posts by Dr. Emily Davis regarding her father's supposed cognitive decline. I have personally witnessed Mr. Robert Wilson's mental acuity and his extensive documentation of Dr. Davis's educational expenses. The community should know that Mr. Wilson worked 3 jobs to support his daughter's medical education, while she claimed to be from a broken home with an absent father on federal financial aid applications. This appears to be part of a pattern of misrepresenting family circumstances for personal gain. Emily's phone buzzed with a notification. She read Dr. Harrison's LinkedIn post and went pale. You can't post that. I just did. It's defamatory. It's documented fact. Would you like me to attach your scholarship applications as evidence? Emily frantically started typing responses. These are misunderstandings based on complex family dynamics. Private family matters shouldn't be aired publicly. But Dr. Harrison's post was already being shared. Comments appeared rapidly. Wait, is this the same Emily Davis who gave that inspiring speech about overcoming parental neglect? I remember Robert Wilson. He tutored my kids for free while working multiple jobs. This doesn't add up. If this is true, didn't she steal scholarship money meant for actually disadvantaged students? Emily's damage control wasn't working. Her own colleagues were asking questions. Dr. Peterson from Pediatrics commented, Robert Wilson is one of the most dedicated fathers I've ever met. This post is deeply concerning if accurate. Dr. Williams added, I can confirm Robert worked night shifts and still came to tutor my daughter. Emily's claims about neglect don't match my observations. Emily's phone rang. Her department chief. Dr. Davis? I'm seeing some troubling social media activity. We need to discuss this first thing Monday morning. She hung up and stared at her phone as more notifications poured in. Her attempt to control the narrative had backfired spectacularly. Emily, I said quietly, you might want to delete those posts. It's too late. She looked at Dr. Harrison. You've destroyed everything I've worked for. No, he replied calmly. You destroyed it the moment you decided to build your career on lies about your father's sacrifice. Emily gathered her scattered papers with shaking hands. This isn't over. You're right, Dr. Harrison said. On Monday morning, you have a meeting with your department chief. And I have a meeting with the Federal Financial Aid Oversight Committee. Emily left without another word, her social media strategy in ruins. The truth was finally finding its audience. That evening, Dr. Harrison and I spread 30 years of documentation across my kitchen table. The moral accounting was devastating in its precision. Let's start with the scholarship fraud, Dr. Harrison said, pulling out Emily's applications. 2008 to 2012. 4 years of false claims. I opened my bank statements and canceled checks. Check number 1001, August 15th, 2008. Emily's dorm deposit, $2,400. Same week she claimed on her aid application that I provided no financial support. Federal Pell Grant approved September 2008, Dr. Harrison noted. $6,195 for fall semester. Check 1015, September 10th, 2008. Emily's meal plan, $1,800. Medical Disadvantaged Student Grant, October 2008. $38,750 annual award. We worked systematically through each year. My documentation told one story, a father sacrificing everything for his daughter's education. Emily's scholarship applications told another, an abandoned child struggling alone against poverty and neglect. The numbers are staggering, Dr. Harrison said, calculating on his laptop. Your documented expenses for Emily's education, $156,890. Her fraudulent scholarship claims, $243,400. She stole nearly $250,000. I pulled out the shoebox of thank you cards. These might be the most damning evidence. Read them. I opened the first card, dated 2009. Dear Daddy, I know you're tired from working so much, but I want you to know how grateful I am. You sacrifice everything for my dreams. I promise to make you proud someday. Same year she claimed you abandoned the family, Dr. Harrison noted. The 2010 card. Dad, thank you for working 3 jobs so I can focus on studying. My friends don't understand what real sacrifice looks like. I do. I love you more than words can say. Year 2 of claiming absent father status, Dr. Harrison said grimly. The most painful was from 2012, graduation year, to the most selfless father in the world. Everything I achieve is because of your love and sacrifice. I will never forget what you gave up for me. Thank you for believing in my dreams, even when money was tight. You are my hero. Written 3 months after she submitted her final aid application, claiming you provided no emotional or financial support, Dr. Harrison said. I set the cards aside and pulled out Emily's graduation speech transcript. She thanked me publicly that day, called me the best father any daughter could ask for in front of 500 people, including many of the same professors who'd approved her disadvantaged student status. Dr. Harrison opened his laptop and showed me Emily's recent social media posts from the past 2 years. Her professional Instagram was full of inspirational content. Success isn't about where you come from, it's about refusing to accept limitations. Proud to represent first-generation medical professionals who overcome family dysfunction. To students from difficult backgrounds, your past doesn't define your future. Every scholarship I earned was proof that merit matters more than circumstances. Each post had hundreds of likes from medical colleagues praising her courage and inspiration. She's monetized your sacrifice into a personal brand, Dr. Harrison observed. Look at this speaking engagement fee sheet. Emily charged $15,000 per presentation for her Overcoming Educational Neglect keynote speech. She'd given 23 speeches in the past 2 years. $345,000 in speaking fees, I calculated, built on lies about my absence. Dr. Harrison pulled up Emily's LinkedIn profile. First-generation college graduate. Overcame significant educational disadvantages, including parental neglect and financial instability. Passionate about mentoring students from difficult backgrounds. Her bio had 847 professional connections and 156 recommendations praising her inspirational background and triumph over adversity. Dr. Harrison, there's something else. I went to my filing cabinet and pulled out Emily's recent job applications. She's applied for 3 major positions this year. All emphasize her disadvantaged background. National Medical Leadership Council. My experience overcoming educational neglect and family dysfunction uniquely qualifies me to support other disadvantaged professionals. Chief of Cardiothoracic Surgery, Boston Medical Center. Having risen from poverty and parental absence, I understand the systematic barriers facing underrepresented candidates. Medical Ethics Board appointment. My personal experience with family abandonment drives my commitment to supporting vulnerable populations. She's still doing it, Dr. Harrison said, still using the same lies to advance her career. And it's working. Look at these reference letters. Dr. Peterson had written, Dr. Davis's inspirational background overcoming significant family disadvantages makes her an exceptional role model. Dr. Williams added, her triumph over educational neglect and financial hardship demonstrates the resilience needed for leadership. They're recommending her based on false information, Dr. Harrison noted. Information that's influenced hiring decisions, salary negotiations, speaking opportunities, board appointments. I leaned back in my chair. She hasn't just stolen scholarship money. She's stolen every opportunity meant for genuinely disadvantaged candidates. And tomorrow, Dr. Harrison said, we're going to show the medical community exactly what she's built her success on. He gathered the evidence into organized folders. Scholarship fraud, professional misrepresentation, current application fraud, social media documentation, financial records. Dr. Harrison, are you sure about this? Once we do this, there's no going back. Robert, your daughter has spent 15 years profiting from lies about your sacrifice. She threatened to have you declared incompetent to steal your house. She's applied for positions that could influence thousands of medical students' lives. He looked at the thank you cards scattered across the table. Some lies are too dangerous to ignore. Monday morning, I put on my best janitor uniform, freshly pressed, name tag polished. If Emily was going to be exposed, I wanted the visual contrast to be unmistakable. Dr. Harrison had arranged for the department chair interview to include additional stakeholders, medical faculty who'd known Emily throughout her career. 14 senior doctors gathered in boardroom 314A at University Medical Center. I waited in the hallway as Emily arrived in her $3,200 designer suit, carrying her leather briefcase and radiating confidence. She looked like success personified. "Gentlemen," I heard her voice through the partially open door, "thank you for this opportunity. I believe my background uniquely qualifies me for departmental leadership." Dr. Harrison stepped into the hallway and nodded. "Time." I entered quietly, pushing a maintenance cart to maintain the visual impact. 14 distinguished doctors looked up as a janitor in work clothes entered their boardroom. Emily's face went white. "Dad? What are you doing here?" "Dr. Davis," Dr. Harrison said formally, "I believe you know Mr. Robert Wilson?" "This is inappropriate," Emily said quickly. "Family members shouldn't attend professional interviews." "Actually," Dr. Peterson spoke up, "we invited Mr. Wilson. We have questions about your background statements." Emily's confidence faltered. "My background statements?" Dr. Harrison opened a folder. "Your application for department chair includes extensive discussion of overcoming educational neglect and parental abandonment. Several faculty members have concerns about these claims." "Concerns?" Dr. Williams leaned forward. "Emily, I've known your father for 15 years. He tutored my daughter Sarah through high school calculus, came straight from his night shift to help her with homework. My relationship with my father is complex." "Complex enough to claim he abandoned you?" Dr. Martinez interrupted. "Because that's what your scholarship applications say." Emily's briefcase slipped slightly in her hands. "Scholarship applications?" Dr. Harrison pulled out documents. Federal Pell Grant, 2008. Quote, "Applicant's father abandoned family when applicant was 12. No contact or financial support since abandonment." End quote. That's taken out of context. "Medical Disadvantaged Student Grant, 2009, Dr. Harrison continued. Quote, "Father provides no financial support. Student works part-time while attending college full-time without family assistance." End quote. Dr. Peterson looked confused. "Emily, your father was at every parent conference. I remember him being exhausted from working multiple jobs." "3 jobs," I said quietly. "Hospital janitor, 6 to 2, office cleaning, 6 to 10, weekend maintenance." Emily shot me a warning look. "Dad's memory isn't reliable." "My memory's fine." I pulled out my own folder. Check number 1247, September 15th, 2009. Emily's apartment deposit, $2,400. Same month she claimed I provided no financial support. Dr. Harrison passed copies around the table. "Mr. Wilson has documented $156,890 in expenses for Emily's education. During the same period, Emily received $243,400 in need-based aid by claiming family abandonment." The room erupted in murmurs. Dr. Peterson studied the documents. "This is federal fraud. It's misunderstanding based on complex family dynamics," Emily said desperately. "Dr. Davis," Dr. Martinez said, "I'm looking at your 2010 thank you card to your father. Quote, Dad, thank you for working 3 jobs so I can focus on studying. My friends don't understand what real sacrifice looks like. I do." End quote. Emily's face flushed. "I was young." "You were 22, Dr. Williams said. "Same age as medical school admission." Dr. Harrison pulled out more evidence. "Your graduation speech, May 2012. Quote, "To my father, the most selfless man I know, who sacrificed everything for my dreams." End quote. Public statements made under pressure. "Pressure?" Dr. Peterson's voice rose. "You publicly thanked the man you'd been claiming abandoned you?" Emily tried to regain control. "Gentlemen, even if there were discrepancies in old paperwork..." "Discrepancies?" Dr. Martinez stood up. "You defrauded federal aid programs of nearly $250,000. And it's not old news," Dr. Harrison added. "Your current application for National Medical Leadership Council includes the same false narrative. Quote, "My experience overcoming educational neglect and family dysfunction uniquely qualifies me to support other disadvantaged professionals." Dr. Williams shook his head. "Emily, you're still doing it. Still profiting from lies about your father's sacrifice." The room fell silent except for the rustling of papers as faculty members reviewed the evidence. Dr. Peterson finally spoke. "Mr. Wilson, would you tell us about those years?" I looked at Emily, then at the assembled doctors. I worked 3 jobs to pay for Emily's education. Every semester, every expense, every need she had. I kept every canceled check, every receipt, every thank you card she wrote. Why 3 jobs? Dr. Martinez asked. Because I wanted her to focus on studying instead of working. I wanted her to have opportunities I never had. And Emily's claims about abandonment? I never missed a parent conference, a graduation, an award ceremony. I was tired because I worked 16-hour days, but I was there. Dr. Williams turned to Emily. How do you explain this contradiction? Emily's composure finally cracked. You don't understand the emotional dynamics. Working all the time meant he was never present for real connection. So you fabricated abandonment claims to steal scholarship money? Dr. Peterson's voice was ice cold. I qualified for aid based on my circumstances. Circumstances you manufactured, Dr. Harrison said. Your father has thank you cards spanning 14 years. Cards where you called him your hero, thanked him for his sacrifice, expressed gratitude for his support. He passed around photocopies. The doctors read silently, their expressions growing darker. Dr. Davis, Dr. Martinez said finally, this is the most extensive financial aid fraud I've seen in 30 years of academic medicine. Emily grabbed her briefcase. I don't have to listen to this. Actually, you do, Dr. Harrison said. Your department chief is waiting outside with campus security. The FBI Financial Crimes Unit has been notified. Emily froze halfway to the door. Furthermore, Dr. Peterson added, the medical board will be reviewing your license. Federal fraud is grounds for immediate suspension. And, Dr. Williams continued, every institution where you've spoken about overcoming adversity will be notified about the fraudulent basis of your presentations. Emily sank back into her chair. You're destroying my career. No, I said quietly. You destroyed it when you decided my sacrifice wasn't worth acknowledging. Dr. Harrison stood up. The department chair position is withdrawn. Your application for National Medical Leadership Council has been rescinded. Metro General Hospital has been informed of the fraud investigation. The speaking engagements, Emily whispered, all canceled. The organizations are considering legal action for misrepresentation. Dr. Peterson leaned forward. Emily, you've stolen from genuinely disadvantaged students. You've built your entire professional reputation on lies. You've applied for positions under false pretenses. What you've done, Dr. Martinez added, goes beyond fraud. You've weaponized someone else's sacrifice for personal gain. Emily looked around the room at faces that had once respected her, now filled with disgust and disappointment. Dr. Davis, Dr. Harrison said formally, you have 48 hours to submit your resignation from Metro General. The federal investigation will proceed regardless. Emily gathered her papers with shaking hands. This isn't over. Yes, it is, I said. I kept every card, Emily. Every thank you note. Every photo of you hugging me at graduation. The truth has been waiting 15 years for witnesses. She walked to the door, then turned back. Dad. Mr. Wilson will do fine, Dr. Peterson interrupted. Your father deserves more respect than you've ever shown him. Emily left without another word. The room sat in silence for a long moment. Mr. Wilson, Dr. Williams finally said, I owe you an apology. We all do. We believed her lies about you. You didn't know. We should have known, Dr. Martinez said. Anyone who worked that hard to support their child's education deserved better recognition. Dr. Harrison gathered the evidence. The FBI will want these documents. Emily's facing 5 to 20 years for federal fraud, plus restitution of $243,400. I looked around the room at these distinguished doctors who'd finally seen the truth. Gentlemen, thank you for listening. As I pushed my maintenance cart out of the boardroom, I heard Dr. Peterson say quietly, that man raised a doctor. She just happened to become a criminal. The truth had found its witnesses. Emily's lies had finally met their audience, and I was going home to my house, the one she'd never get her hands on. 3 months later, I was mopping floors in the pediatric wing when Dr. Peterson found me. Robert, there's news about Emily. I set down my mop. The FBI investigation? Federal fraud conviction, 5 years probation, $243,400 restitution, 500 hours community service. He paused. And permanent revocation of her medical license. I leaned against my cart, feeling the weight of it. No more practicing medicine. The medical board was unanimous. They said trust is fundamental to medicine, and she'd proven herself fundamentally untrustworthy. What about her job? Metro General terminated her the day after charges were filed. The National Medical Leadership Council released a statement about the importance of integrity in medical leadership. Dr. Peterson shook his head. Every hospital in the country knows her name now. And the money? She liquidated her investment portfolio to pay restitution, sold her Mercedes, her condo downtown. She's working at a medical billing company now, the only healthcare job she could find. I thought about Emily sitting in a cubicle, processing insurance claims for the medical profession she'd been expelled from. Dr. Peterson, do you think I did the right thing? Robert, she threatened to have you declared incompetent to steal your house, after building her career on lies about your sacrifice. He put his hand on my shoulder. Sometimes love means protecting people from the consequences of their choices. Sometimes it means letting them face those consequences. Has she tried to contact you? Once. She wanted to explain her side. I told her the evidence was clear enough. Dr. Peterson started to leave, then turned back. There's something else. The scholarship money Emily defrauded, it's been reallocated to genuinely disadvantaged students. 3 kids from broken homes just got full rides to medical school. That's good. Their thank you letters specifically mention how grateful they are that fraud was exposed and resources redirected to deserving candidates. He smiled. In a way, your honesty gave 3 kids the chances Emily stole. That evening, I sat in my kitchen, still my kitchen, in my house worth $4.2 million that Emily would never touch. The thank you cards were back in their shoebox, but I'd kept one out. Dear Daddy, you are my hero. Written in 2nd grade handwriting by a little girl who meant every word. I folded the card carefully and put it in my wallet. Some truths are worth protecting, even when the people who wrote them forget they ever believed them. Emily had learned that sacrifice can't be rewritten, and I'd learned that love sometimes means saying no.